Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about The Hours. And this movie came out in 2002, and it was nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars, the 2003 Oscars. And this movie stars Nicole Kidman, Meryl Streep, and Julianne Moore, and John C. Reilly is in it too, and many others. And I enjoyed this movie overall. It wasn't great or amazing, but there were definitely parts of it that I will be remembering, and I did find aspects of it to be interesting. And pretty much the only thing that happens throughout most of this movie is just dialogue and the character dynamics and everything that they're going through. And if you find the characters in this movie interesting, then the movie will work for you. And it's three separate storylines and taking place either in the 20s, the 1920s, the 1950s, or modern day, that being the early 2000s, I think 2001 specifically. And I found it to be interesting for the most part. My favorite parts were in the 2001 era, just because I think Meryl Streep, she has not only really great screen presence, but also does a great job. And I just find everything that's going on in her storyline to be the most interesting. And also, I thought Ed Harris was great in this movie as well. And there's lots of stuff that I just really love. And I do feel as though if we got a whole movie just with the Meryl Streep stuff and that was it, I feel as though this would have been a really great movie, because I just feel as though there were so lots of things going on there that I just connected with so much. And I could imagine it maybe getting a little repetitive after a certain point, but still, I do feel as though like what characters are talking about and their dynamics to be very powerful at times, and that was my favorite segment for sure. And the Nicole Kidman segment that took place in the 1920s, I liked the second half of it better than the first half. The first half was just kind of generic and it didn't really do much for me, but the second half I do feel as though really added a lot, and I felt as though in the second half I was much more engaged with it and really enjoyed it. And the 50s stuff was decent and all. It's just overall it wasn't as great for me, in my opinion. The music in this movie was good and complemented every scene that it was in. And it wasn't in every single scene throughout this film, which I did like, but it was still good and effective whenever it was used or was not used. And I did also kind of like how each time period had its own, I think, color palette or color grading to it that I found to be kind of interesting. Whereas the 20s and 50s had like a bit of a warm color to it, whereas the 2001 was a bit more blue and kind of cold almost. And I did like that about it, and I found it to be kind of, oh, that's something that adds to the film a little bit. And I enjoyed the tone of the film and what it was going for, and you do get a sense of everything just being sad and somber. I found that to be entertaining and something that was connecting with me a decent amount. And to get into my issues with this movie, one of them being the 50s era just being not as engaging for me, because I personally just found the other two timelines to be more engaging. But it's mostly just for personal reasons. And the child acting wasn't great in this movie, unfortunately, especially in the 50s segment. That's where it was the weakest for me. And there were some editing choices that I found to be kind of choppy at times. Not consistently throughout the film, but there were just moments where I feel as though the editing could have been a little bit better, a little smoother, and it wouldn't bug me as much. And I do also feel as though this movie could have been about 10-15 minutes shorter as well. I just feel as though there were parts that were either kind of slow or just didn't really add much of anything to anything. And this is also kind of a movie where not much really happens without spoiling anything. So maybe I guess that's the point in a way, but I also feel as though it could have been shorter just for the sake of me feeling as though it's not super slow in every scene, and just me feeling as though things are being done in a way that makes sense. But I also want to kind of mention that If this won Best Picture, personally, it wouldn't be my choice. It would be The Pianist. I think that would have been my pick. Either that or Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. That would have been a great pick. Unfortunately, it went to Chicago, which I really do not like. Saw it recently, and I really hate that movie. And Gangs of New York was good, just not my personal pick for Best Picture. And that's about all I have to say about The Hours. It was good. I enjoyed it. There were things that I liked, even loved for sure, but I do feel as though the great movie is just in the 2001 segment, and the rest of it is either good, just not as great. So do check this movie out whenever you get the chance, and with all that being said, I'm going to give The Hours a 6 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos. As always, if you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below you thought of The Hours, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for The Perfect Storm. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.